Welcome back to the Absolutely Epic Early Week Podcast, Week 7. Dean here. That's Dean 7804 if you want to get all technical on me. Batting first, leading off, it's Grant Neiffer coming live to us from Las Vegas. What's up, Grant?
They should really call it lost wages because I lost a lot of money this weekend.
Oh, boy. Well, you know, I tried to warn you. I said the Dolphins getting too many points at home against that toilet bowl of a game against Washington. I tried to help you out, tried to save you in that one.
Oh, that McLaurin's one of the only things that saved me from losing everything. But yeah, probably my worst weekend in 4 years. Luckily, the rest of the season's gone well enough where I'm still up good.
Well, yeah, I was talking like I was thinking actual like real wages, like just going to the betting window and like actually betting Washington versus Miami, like old school before DFS. That was sort of my thought process.
I crushed actual sports betting. DFS just got destroyed.
Well, there you go. Yeah, we were talking about this pre-show, and I was saying how I was excited, but I won $100. Like normally, I kind of did the math, and I'm like, I thought it wasn't going to work out for me that week, but and I didn't really love that week, last week going in, and I ended up winning like $100, and I'm like, I was thrilled. I was like, yeah, this is a great week, and now we're going to bring in Mangone, who's fully tilted currently because Fortnite is down. So he's very upset that Fortnite is down. He's got his priorities straight in life. 30-year-old man, give or take, I might be rounding up. But Mangone, you want to give us 30 seconds on why you're, how upset you are about Fortnite not being a thing?
Oh yeah, dude, it's so tilting, man. I just after the games, didn't have the best NFL Sunday. Wasn't my worst, wasn't my best. Got some money back. Broke even on one site. Another site won a little money, another site lost money. So. Wasn't happy with the day, and I was like, no, I'm just going to hop on the video games, find a way to decompress on Sunday night, just enjoy life. Chargers, Steelers wasn't getting the job done. I hate the Yankees. I'm a Met fan. I'm just jealous. So I have to watch the stupid Yankees in a 2-2 game and, sweat that out. That was a pass. And
they lost.
Yeah, well, I had to stay up for that. I passed out during the game at 10:30. I was beyond tilted because, again, Fortnite's not up, and it's still not up, man. It's been forever. I just wanted to decompress, play some video games, and just enjoy. But it's all good, man. We got Showdown slate tonight. You don't have to hear me tilting it on the pod. And it's the Packers. That's my favorite team, man. So do I fire up the cheesehead tonight, Dean, and, bust it out for the first time this season and put on my head and, cheer on my –
Packers are going to lose. You know that, right?
Do you actually have a cheesehead? Is that something that's in your repertoire?
Yeah, I see it right now. Actually, it's right here. So if I want to pull it out, I could wear it on the pod if I want. And Grant, the Packers are winning that game tonight, man. That's a W.
Nope.
Well, so here's the thing. If you guys picked up the old context clues, normally we record the podcast Monday night. It's the Absolutely Epic Early Week Podcast for a reason. It's the first podcast you just listen to as far as DFS, not the last one. We're recording this one even earlier than we normally do. We're doing it 1 o'clock Monday, 5 o'clock, basically flagship show time, 5 o'clock on the East Coast, more or less. We're doing it before the Monday night game, as is. And of course, we focus on the main slates. We don't talk about teams that aren't playing outside of the main slate. Kansas City and Denver, they're playing on Thursday night, so we're not talking about them. Monday night is New England and the Jets. We're not going to be talking about those guys. Sunday night, Philadelphia and Dallas, they are available on the Yahoo slate. Yahoo, of course, the sponsor of this podcast. We also talk about the DK main slate as well. And some teams that are on bye, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Tampa, Carolina, not talking about those teams either. Grant, well, what's our thought here as far as a screenshot, as far as our first look? Because for me, 11-game slate, 12-game slate, again, depending on where you're shopping, it seems pretty clear, according to the totals where we're looking, at least for me. How about yourself? What's popping for you?
I mean, yeah, obviously the Rams, Atlanta, clear game that you really want to stack up real good. 54 implied total, or 54 total here. Houston, Indianapolis looks like a good spot. I think it's not cut and dry exactly who you want to use in that. Baltimore, Seattle looks like a good game here. And then why am I not seeing it? I feel like the Giants, Arizona, another very clear spot where, I mean, depending on who's playing, Ingram and Shepard, kind of we have to wait on that news. We still have to wait on some news this week to kind of figure out where we're going. But there's a few very clear stacking spots, and then there's a few spots where I think low totals, but just because of the high spread and the pricing of a lot of guys, there's some spots you can definitely go.
Do also want to mention, you stick around, we'll tell you how to win a t-shirt later on in the comment section. It's very, very, very easy to win yourself a t-shirt. You just kind of answer the comments. We have a winner we'll announce later on in the show, obviously. And you mentioned kind of injuries. And again, this is Monday night. Do not take this as gold going forward. But as of Monday night, Ingram and Barkley looked like they both participated in practice. They're probably leaning toward playing this week. And Sterling Shepard, as of right now, is currently a long shot. Amari Cooper is dealing with a bruised thigh. Doesn't seem to be too serious. We shall see. Of course, he did not finish the game on Sunday. Sad tears for Grant. And I think your season-long team, Will Dissly, he's 86. The Achilles is going to shoot him.
Let's talk about best ball. I drafted him in best ball.
Boy, Mangone just got excited. He heard best ball. He just perked up. He wants to talk about best ball for sure.
No, I listen.
Fortnite's not even on his mind anymore.
I don't know. I don't even want to talk about best ball. It's not going well. It's not looking so hot in the best ball. But I will say I did do the week 5 best ball. And like, man, I got some really good teams in that. So there you go. That'll hopefully that offsets it. Hopefully that helps out and works through things.
It's best ball season. Yeah, Disley's not playing going forward. He's done for the season, unfortunately. Luke Wilson, I drew like 2/3 of the snaps yesterday for him for Seattle. So that's obviously not terribly enthusing. Doesn't get you too excited. But, yeah, that Giant game, like you mentioned, Grant, the Giants versus Arizona, anybody versus Arizona. We know the old flow chart against Arizona when it comes to tight ends, really any position. If Ingram comes back, that can definitely, shape the slate. Yourself here, Mangone. Of course, we're going to break it down position by position again in a second, starting with the quarterbacks. So, Mangone, give me the screenshot. Give me the overview. What's the sort of jumping out to you when you first take a peek at this slate?
Yeah, so this slate overall, I think there's some plays where it's just a really easy, some plug-and-play spots on some guys. Obviously Giants, Cardinals is a game we're going to want to load up on. DraftKings definitely priced that game up, perfectly enough. But I think there's some really, really good spots on this slate overall. And some guys, they're just mispriced that I'm just going to take those guys and, hope it works out. And I think there's going to be a lot of straightforward plays, though, on this slate based on prices.
Yeah, of course, we live in the world of a salary cap, Mangone, and quarterback right at the top. All the quarterbacks look really, really good to be well-positioned. Great matchup there with L-Jax taking on, Russell Wilson, both pretty expensive, obviously, depending on where you're shopping. Watson looks great as well in the Dome. Love him in the Dome. Murray against the Giants is certainly interesting. Every single week, Yahoo would talk about how Murray's just too cheap over there. I think it was like $26, $27 last week. Now he's up to $30, but still, that's very reasonable. I don't mind Jones either. Yahoo specific as well. I think he's like $26 over there. Probably more of a tournament play. Of course, on DK, the guys I ran off are basically all at the top. Grant's boy, Josh Allen, he's kind of expensive versus Miami. Kind of pricey. Again, depending on where you're shopping.
How's that expensive? It's against Miami.
Well, what does he have to do against Miami? They're 17-point favorites.
Allen.
Well, when you beat Josh Allen, that means just go in the YOLO mode and just throw it up and hopefully you catch a 50-yard pass. But when you're up 23-3 and with 3 minutes to go in the third quarter, there's no need to do that.
When your wide receivers are wide open, it's kind of easy.
Why would you even call the play though?
Well, he can also run it for 120 yards this game.
Yeah, he can. I like him, but he kind of fall. Okay, well, I'll ask you. I was going to ask Mangone, but it sounds like you have some thoughts. Allen, do you think he's worthy of being the same price as Jackson and Murray and Wilson and Watson and all those guys, more or less?
Yeah, I think he is. I mean, we know exactly what he can do. Yes, the game script doesn't really favor him too much, but in low-scoring games, he can still put up big points. He's been able to do it a lot. You just look at his game log and look at games where he's only put up, 17 to 20 points, and he can still put up, 17 to 20 real-life points. He can still put up 20 real-life or fantasy points pretty easily. I mean, Tennessee put up 18 points. He can still get a rushing touchdown, 50 yards and a rushing touchdown. He gets that plus 1 to 2 passing touchdowns. We got to assume that they're not going to take their foot off the throttle until they get up to at least 21 points. In games where he's only scored 2 touchdowns, he's still been able to put up 20 points very easily. So his floor is probably around 20. His ceiling is 35, just in case they actually do continue to pass the ball or have him run, just because this Miami defense is terrible. And, yeah, their run defense is bad, but Buffalo really doesn't have too much of a running game.
By the way, I'm not sure if you heard me there. I said Buffalo. The Buffalo Bills are favored by 17 points. And, I don't know, you guys are sharp side guys. Like, when was the last time the Buffalo Bills went there by 17 points? I think Jim Kelly was the quarterback, honestly.
Yeah, I think it was 1993.
Oh, you actually have a stat in this, or you're kind of pulling it out of the butt?
Pulling out of the butt completely.
Yeah, but I wouldn't argue with that, right? Mangone, like, it's been probably before Mangone was born, potentially.
That Grant stat sounds like a chop fact, but
yeah. Are you aware of Jim Kelly's existence?
Sorry.
Out of curiosity, Mangone?
It was back in 1992. They were 16.5-point favorites.
all right. I'm aware of Jim Kelly's existence. He is a 4-time runner-up of the Super Bowl.
There you go.
4 time in a row too. Like, just not so good.
Back to back.
Back in the day, speaking of back, I was a Houston Oilers fan, and I don't know if you guys remember the infamous or even are aware of the infamous Houston Oilers Buffalo Bills playoff game, but that was one of like my saddest 5 days of my childhood when the Houston Oilers lost against the Bills despite winning like 35-3 at the half or something like that. It was very depressing. I'm just getting a flashback. But, well, there you go. I'm going to move on. Mangone, this is daily fantasy sports. We don't care about yesterday,
just go. No.
Tomorrow, or like 25 years ago. All we care about is this week. So, Jim Kelly, not on the slate. Now there is Warren Moon or Alonzo Highsmith. Mangone, talk to me about these quarterbacks. Like, you don't have Josh Allen first amongst this group. Of course, he's interesting for tournaments, but he's not like your cash game guy.
No. I mean, I like these guys at the top, like Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, all these guys. I mean, there's even, arguments for like Matt Ryan and Jared Goff, even though they're pretty awful. They just pass the ball so much. Like, Jared Goff is terrible. Matt Ryan, he still somehow gets it done every week, but that team is so bad. But I definitely like all the top end guys more. That's kind of where I'm going. There's actually a pretty interesting stat I want to pull up. Scott Barrett had it, and
oh boy,
I want to read it here. It's funny. Passer rating from a clean pocket. Number 1 in the league, Russell Wilson. Number 2, Dak Prescott. Number 3, Pat Mahomes. Last, Baker Mayfield. Passer rating when pressured in the pocket. Russell Wilson, number 1. Derek Carr, number 2. Deshaun Watson, number 3. And Baker Mayfield, dead last. So I thought that's pretty funny, just showing how good Russell Wilson has been. And if you look at that game too, like if I told you at the start of the season, if I said, hey, Seattle and Baltimore are facing off, and this game is in Seattle, the total's 50.5. You're pounding the under, right, Dean? That's just crazy that this is that high of a total. Like, it just shows that Vegas is high on both of these offenses, and like Wilson and Jackson are phenomenal cash game plays.
Well, these are also two like fraudulent defense. Okay, so they have name brand defenses like Seattle and Baltimore over the last like 15, 20 years. Name brand have been good defensively, but like obviously they're not the same teams. Ray Lewis is not coming out of that locker room. At least he's not going to be suited up. So neither is Richard Sherman. So like it's just facades as far as these names, as far as these defenses. I prefer the offenses much more than the defenses as well. By the way, Grant, you're a Seattle fan. Wilson, he's the MVP right now, right? It's not even a conversation.
I mean, I think he's pretty much got to be after Mahomes' play in the last 2 weeks and the fact that they've lost 2 in a row. Wilson keeping the Seahawks at 5-1, I believe, right now. Yeah, he's the MVP, and he might be the best play this week. Baltimore, yes, they don't really have a good defense on running or passing. And yes, the Seahawks may try and run the ball at a high rate, but Wilson's still been able to get it done pretty easily. Yes, this is going to be a bit of a hit here, but Wilson can still get 25 points. I mean, you look at this season, and Russell Wilson has only passed for over 300 yards once, and he's still averaging 27 points, I believe, a game. Yeah, 27 points a game. So, yeah, I think he might be the top play just considering he's one of the cheapest out of these guys. Kyler Murray, don't mind him going up against New York just for the high volume of plays he's going to get. The problem is this week there's really not a lot of cheap guys at the QB's position. I mean, Daniel Jones, 6,100s, the lowest price guy that we really are excited about playing. The only 2 guys that I really have interest in under 6K, which is something that I almost never thought I'd say, is Gardner Minshew and Ryan Tannehill if he's starting. Do we know? Yeah,
I saw a tweet that they're gonna announce Monday night Mariota versus Tannehill. They're still in deliberations. They're still breaking down the film, but like I just don't care, man. I don't care who it is. I'm not watching either one.
I see like the "who cares" gif popping up here. Like, don't even worry
Jay Cutler's
about it.
somewhere smoking. He does not care at all who's playing quarterback for Tennessee this week.
Yeah, definitely, no doubt. Mariota and Ryan Tannehill, they're not 10s that I see here. They are awful. I will pass. Terrible quarterbacks. No thanks. I just don't think it's a week to go down for cheap at quarterback, really. There's just not a lot to like. I started kind of getting intrigued when I saw like Rivers at 5.5K. I was like, okay, like that's interesting. He could be a safe cash game option, I guess. Even you could say Jacoby Brissett. He could be a really intriguing option there too against the Texans. So I don't mind that, but I don't know. I mean, I guess Gardner Minshew, but I'm expecting obviously more of a positive game script where you see the Jaguars maybe running the ball a little bit more and just destroying the Bengals on the ground. So, yeah, I'm kind of just in the camp of I think it's a spend up at quarterback week.
Yeah, and but as far as I know, Ryan was mentioned there in passing, and he basically had. I don't want to say it's a prerequisite, like I demand it, but I really want a quarterback with legs. I love the outs as far as the legs. Watson gives it to you, Jackson gives it to you, Murray, Wilson, Allen, all those guys. Wilson running a lot more this year than last year, if I remember correctly. I feel like he wasn't running that much last year. Ryan has to get there, but he's every single week he's put up 380 yards. So if you're playing DK, you start off with 3 points. And now he's getting there with like throwing touchdowns as well too, just because that defense is bad and they fall behind. And who cares how he gets there, but he keeps getting there. And he's going to be home in the Dome once again because Atlanta, I think, contractually obligated to play every single one of their games in the Dome this year. I saw something like that, more or less, 13, give or take. He just doesn't the legs, so like that's why he falls back for me. And he can have like the nut game, which he had last week, where he was 400 yards, 300 yards, whatever it was, and like 4 touchdowns, but. I don't know, Grant. Like, basically, I don't want to say I have to have it, but almost always that's what I'm looking for, especially for upside.
Yeah, and we have that with Minshew. He's been running a few games this season, and Cincinnati's looking like one of the worst rush defense against rushing quarterbacks since the Niners 3 years ago. I mean, we just had Lamar Jackson put up 150 yards against him a week before. Kyler Murray, who hasn't used his legs too much, just put up 90 against him. Minshew, a guy that can get 50, 60 rushing yards in any given game here. That's why I really like him going up against Cincinnati. The game script may not favor him a ton, but Jacksonville's only a 3-point favorite right now. It's been played over in Cincinnati. Cincinnati's been better than people believe. Minshew can absolutely put up a 30-point game here.
I'm not really convinced he's a running quarterback per se. He's probably like somewhere in the middle, like a tweener. But I say I need the prerequisite as far as the legs. Is a mustache, is that a prerequisite for you, or you're just making an exception here for Minshew?
No, he's just got legs, and it's a 3-point game. He's put up big games, and Cincinnati's defense is terrible. What do you think his 40 time is?
I don't think he's good. Like, that's another part of it. His 40 time is, I don't know, 4.5? Is that
4.97?
That seems terrible, isn't? Wait, didn't Will Dissly have a faster 40 time than that?
Yeah, Will Dissly was on pace to be a Pro Bowler, Dean.
Among like some kind of dad runner league. But yeah, Mangone, you're the 40 guy. The 4.9 seems too high, isn't it?
I mean, Minshew definitely has some legs, so that doesn't shock me if he's at 4.9.
All right, somewhere in the middle, basically. He's not like in the same.
I don't think he's like super fast, but he's fast. I think he's in a faster tier for quarterbacks.
So like the main thing is like with running quarterbacks, it's not nearly as important to have a fast 40 time. I mean, running backs, when they're on the line, they have to get going real quickly. Like from a standstill, quarterbacks, it's a little bit different. They're already moving a little bit. It's not as much about acceleration. It's more about top speed. That's why Josh Allen's only a 4.75 40 guy, and he is one of the best running quarterbacks in the league.
Wow. Did you know that at the Dome, or you kind of like did a little Google search?
I didn't know Minshew. I knew the rest.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I was not aware of the 40 time for Josh Allen, but well played.
I mean, Blaine Gabbert ran the same 40 as Cam Newton in the draft, and obviously Blaine Gabbert wasn't a huge runner. Andrew Luck, not terribly fast. Yeah, Andrew Luck, not terribly fast, but still a running quarterback. Again, it's not about 40 speed. That people just get way too excited about that when it comes to quarterback. And yes, there are exceptions like Jackson or Michael Vick, but it's not an absolute necessity for a quarterback to be a scrambling quarterback. Like Russell Wilson, I think, is a 4.65 40, and he is one of the best running quarterbacks in the league. Minshew is going to tear apart this defense.
Hey, random question for you, Grant. Over under a half a game. Cam Newton, how many more games are you going to play the rest of the season?
I mean, I'm going to go with half. under a half.
Well, you got to pick over or under a half a game.
I'm going to pick under a half. I think he pays 26 minutes. Or it's 23 minutes. God, games are all – no, wait. No, this is football. It's 26 minutes. All right, that's still under 30.
Final thoughts on quarterback, Mangone, or you want to jump to running back?
Yeah, no final thoughts there for me on quarterback. I'm good to go.
All right. Feel free to open up the running backs.
All right, running back. So at the top, I mean, it's expensive, right? I totally get it, but I think we're jamming in Barkley against the Cardinals here. Everyone's going to, people might be, I'm worried about the injury and stuff, but like this guy, generational healer, generational running back, generational everything. This guy's a beast. Love Barkley at 8-9. I think I'm going to spend on him. Also, Dalvin Cook at the top 8K is really intriguing, though. Like, if you want to take the discount from Barkley to Cook, like, it's perfectly fine to do that. That game's in a dome as well, so that's great. So I think both those top options are really, really good. David Johnson at 7-8, it's fine, but I don't know if I want him on draft because of that price. I think I'd prefer the other guys. I think David Johnson is a pretty good option, though, too. But I really like Leonard Fournette at 7K. That's the guy I'm really keying in on here against the Bengals. I get it. Minshew's a really good play, but Fournette at 7K, I think he's going to absolutely crush. Has been a volume monster. So really leaning on him as being one of my core pieces, it looks like, this week. Dean, I know you like Chris Carson a little bit. I didn't love that one. I guess you could break that down when we get there. I don't know. I'm torn on like the whole penny thing and pro size tilting. Maybe it's just some bias there with that. Maybe not having Carson last week on DraftKings being frustrating. But I think my favorite running backs, I guess if you go from 7K and above, I'd rank them Barkley 1, maybe Fournette 2 if you're going point per dollar, then Cook, and then David Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really scared about Penny so much if he plays or he doesn't play. It seems like it's not Penny's boat. It's not Penny's backfield. It doesn't really matter. Carson's going to get his 25 touches or so in that game against Baltimore. He doesn't catch the ball a ton, but he catches the ball enough. If he's going to get 25 touches against Baltimore, it's a pretty reasonable price as well, too. You mentioned David Johnson, and, specific to Yahoo, we talked about this pre-show, Mangone. David Johnson, $23 on Yahoo. What are we talking about? That's a lock and load if I've ever seen one. I think it's running back 11 if you got to do it that way, like the 11th most expensive running back against the Giants. And also specific to Yahoo, like Barkley's $35 and Cook is $40. Assuming Barkley's a go, assuming he's not going to get kind of eased in or whatever. Generational matchup too, right, Grant? Like this matchup here against Arizona. We got to love Barkley, of course, in the world of a salary cap. I like Fournette as well too against Cincinnati. He should get plenty of touches as well. Jump in here, Grant. Your thoughts as far as the top tier, as far as the old running backs.
I mean, I'm not as high on Barkley as you guys are. I mean, yes, he's an incredible running back, probably the best running back in the league. Yes, it's a good matchup, but it's going to be high volume. He is coming back from injury, though. A lot of what he gets done is in the receiving game. That's where he gets a lot of his points. And Arizona's been fairly good at limiting running back targets and running back receptions so far this season. Plus, we don't know exactly how much Jones is going to be dumping the ball off to Barkley. We only have, 3/4 of film on him and Barkley together. So we don't exactly know how it's going to go. And Barkley, yes, he's been just been incredibly efficient throughout his entire career with his workload, but like he's not getting 20 some odd touches a game most of the time. I mean, 2 games he played this season, he had 21 and 15 total touches. Yes, he broke off some big runs, but paying $8.9K for a guy that people are going to obviously gravitate to because of the perceived workload and everything in the matchup, I'd rather pay down a little bit. I mean, Alvin Kamara, Mangone didn't even mention him. Yes, he's going up against Chicago. Chicago is an incredible defense, but they limit a lot of targets and a lot of work to opposing wide receivers. They've actually, like, running backs get dumped off to a whole lot going up against the Bears. Granted, a little bit of that was Chris Thompson going up against them when they were up huge. And I think that Kamara could be in for a massive workload. People still don't want to play him. Drew Brees might be back. They're probably going to be running the ball heavily, and they're probably going to use Kamara quite a bit in the passing game here. I think this could be another potential double-digit target game for Kamara there, and he's going to go largely unowned. Mangone was absolutely right about Fournette. Fournette going up against Cincinnati. They've been historically bad versus running quarterback. They've been terrible versus opposing running backs, and they've given up tons of targets to opposing running backs. And Fournette has the entire workload there and is very involved in the receiving game. It's one of the biggest target shares of any running back in the entire league. Like those guys up at the top, when we get further down, it's a little bit tough. Yes, Carson going up against Baltimore. Seattle's a run-heavy offense. He is a little bit involved in the passing game, and there's super high total there where they are favored. I do like him Derrick Henry, this Chargers defense has not been good. They have not been good versus running backs. I know Derrick Henry doesn't really get a whole lot of receptions, but his price tag in there in the mid-range, I really like him here. I'm probably going to use quite a bit of him. Singletary, if he's playing, I mean, it's going up against Miami with a hugely positive game script, just coming off a hamstring injury. That is worrisome, but if he's going to get the majority, the bulk of the carries here, I think he can potentially do something. Plus, he's a guy that can get it done in the receiving game a little bit. Had 6 targets in the first game versus Jets. And then maybe my favorite play on the board is Mixon. I think as of right now, the Jags are the worst team in the league versus opposing running backs. Mixon's 5K. I know he hasn't been good, and they were using Gio a little bit later on in the game to play catch-up, but the 3-point spread, I see them doing the same thing they did against Arizona, which was they started pounding the ball early and often. Like that entire first drive, Mixon was the only guy that was used, and he can still get it done in the receiving game. He can still do a whole lot, and he's still a very talented running back. Not going to get a ton of ownership, I don't think. I love Joe Mixon here.
And let me ask you this, because Mangone and me were talking pre-show again. I mentioned Mixon at 5K on DK specifically, and Mangone was talking about Johnson at 5-1. You got to pick one of those, Mangone. Who do you prefer?
Yeah, I'm going to take Kerryon Johnson over Mixon. And the reason why is, like, I explained this to you pre-show. Like, you're also buying – when you're buying the running back, you're buying the offensive lines too. And, like, good luck buying that Bengals offensive line. That thing is just absolute trash. Like, I'm going to pass. When you play Baker Mayfield, Dean, you're buying the Browns offensive line. So good luck buying Baker Mayfield and the Browns offensive line. It's not a good time.
Well, I'm told even when you give him a clean pocket on the rare occasion – you don't necessarily want Baker Mayfield. At least somebody quoted that earlier in this podcast in a small sample.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like I said, offensive lines are very big for me, and I'm going to pass on Joe Mixon. I will say, like, if you're playing tournaments, like, the price is getting enticing. I get it. The upside is there, but I don't know. Hard pass on me on Joe Mixon, I think, here.
Singletary is interesting. I just wonder how they kind of baby him, kind of ease him back in, coming back from injury. Young rookie, obviously. Who knows what they have to do against Miami. Gore against Miami. Maybe they give him some extra run. Who knows? And eventually you think they want to turn the reins over to Singletary, but I think that's an interesting name out there. 5'4" on DK. I'm curious how much he is on Yahoo. 21, which is kind of sort of somewhat reasonable. By the way, Yahoo specific on the night game, Zeke is $28. That seems too cheap, right, Mango?
Yeah, $28 is cheap, but again, Dean, like, it's Philly, and we're investing in offensive lines. Like, 2 of their tackles were doubtful last week. Like, that's why I didn't want to play Zeke that much, and I wasn't really that high on Zeke. Like, as the week went on, I was like, yeah, like, I need to not like Zeke as much, because this is just not as good of a spot with the offensive line banged up. So, again, like, tell me what's going to happen with that offensive line, then I'll tell you if I want to invest. And the other thing is the matchup. Like, I'm definitely scared of that matchup, and whenever it's the Eagles, it's a really easy cross-off spot for me.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting game. See how Dallas actually moves the ball, especially if Cooper can't go. And, you got to pass the ball against Philadelphia. And, obviously this is just a Sunday night game for Yahoo, and I assume fantasy draft as well. But how much is Gallup? Gallup's 26. Gallup can be really interesting on the Yahoo slate. Jumping there, Grant, did you have a thought as far as Mixon versus Johnson? I'm not sure if you skipped over him for a reason. Just kind of mixed up. You can't talk about everything, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to mention everyone. I just prefer Mixon. I think it's a better matchup. I think that he's going to be more involved. I think he's going to be lower round because there's not a whole lot of guys who want to use in this range. So I prefer Mixon to carry on. One guy I wanted to mention, near stone cold minimum price. It's a ballsy play, and it could turn out terribly, but Mark Walton, 3,200, seems to be getting involved more in the passing game. They realize that Ballage is absolutely terrible. Walton could potentially be a guy that could get you 15 points if he gets a touchdown. Maybe 20 if he gets a touchdown and is heavily involved in the receiving game. I don't hate that play at all.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up Miami's stats last week from running backs, and unfortunately I cannot get him for some reason. Oh, man, I want to see the snap count.
Drake had 9 targets. Walton had 6 targets. Ballage, of course, had 0 targets because he's just absolutely terrible. Drake was a little bit more involved in the running game. Ballage obviously snaked a touchdown from Drake on the 1-yard line. It was like they weren't running late in the game, so there was only, I think, 18 rushing attempts. But Drake had about 60% of the rushing attempts. Ballage had 20 or 15, and Walton had the rest.
Hey, what do you think of that call there? Going for 2, going for the win, going for 2. Miami, of course, does not want to win. The worst kept secret in the world. And Did you think that call was sabotage, Grant? Do you think they were trying not to execute the call positive play?
Absolutely. It was one of the smartest moves a coach can make.
Well, I mean, like, that's assuming the coach will be there next year. But, yeah, like, I assume he feels like he's going to be there next year, whoever called that play. And, of course, we've had this conversation before, man, going about, like, the players just want to put on good tape because, you know, they don't know if they're going to be sticking around too much longer. So they're not really tanking, but the coaches put in position necessarily where they're not optimal as far as winning. Anything else?
That argument tilts me so much, though, that like people say like they're losing on purpose. Like, you think that coach, like I believe it's his first time coach, you think he wants to like walk into his next job as a head coach and go, you know, I coached the 0-16 Dolphins and like hand his resume over? Like, what is that going to sell? Like, and listen, if they wanted to run the worst play that they could, they would have ran a backside fade, right? They would have just ran a fade on the outside. Like, so they didn't run the worst possible play. So that's crap too.
They would have run a flea flicker, I believe.
Yeah. No, remember what the Colts, remember the Colts' famous fake punt? Remember that play? They ran that play.
And the thing is, Ryan Fitzpatrick, like, okay, listen, the guy doesn't need to put more tape on his resume. Like, Ryan Fitzpatrick wouldn't have tried to score. So, like, these arguments are all flawed and crap. I'm sorry. Like, it's ridiculous. So, yeah, I'm not in on that narrative. I think that narrative is awful. But, anyways, I'm good. We can move on after my rant. We're talking about cheap running backs. I don't know if there's anything else we missed.
Is there any cheap running backs you like here, man? The problem that I'm seeing in this slate on first look, and again, we talk about it's Monday, so who knows what's going to happen going forward. But one of my initial thoughts here, Mangone, is like I don't see a lot of like value plays that are jumping out. Maybe I've missed them, you know, haven't broken everything down just yet, obviously, first look. Do you see value plays yet? I haven't really seen any.
Yeah, I mean, if the Dolphins were trying to win, Dean, you could play Kenyon Drake at 4.1, but you can't play him because they're not.
Yeah, he's not going to play.
No, they're not trying to win. You know, that's why. I'm just tilting about the last.
Well, he's not going to play enough is the problem. At least I don't think so.
No, I mean he's still fine. Like if he can, I mean he got a good enough of volume. Like if I told you for 4.1K a running back's would get 9 targets and get 10 attempts last week, would you be in on it?
Well, you realize this, Mangone, when you roster a running back, you're also investing in their offensive line.
Oh, yeah, no, it's true. It's totally fair. But, yeah, I don't know. But, I mean, I guess, is the Adrian Peterson thing gonna happen again? Again, we played him last week, or not we, but, like, anyone who played him, they played him because they were playing the Dolphins. But apparently this offensive coordinator or new head coach wants to just run the ground. So, I don't know. I guess he's becoming in play, but not for me. Probably for some other people. Grant, are you playing AP?
The San Francisco defense has been too good. I'll have a little bit of him, but probably not much.
Yeah, I think there's too much opportunity cost running back. I don't think this is a week we're going cheap. Grant, Mark Walton, if he's going to start 3.2K, does that wet your whistle?
Wait, were you not listening to me? Gosh, were you reading Fortnite blogs?
Yeah. Did Fortnite all of a sudden like go live and we lost Mangone like 10 minutes ago?
No, Fortnite's not live. And I was trying to figure out why my showdown entries only had one entry in there. I was like, did I not ever click submit on my head-to-heads? And I never did. So I was going through and doing that. So my bad. I'm just making sure I get my action out there.
Grant, can we consider, like, this is an annoying timeshare too, like San Francisco, Coleman and Breida and Mozart. Like, what do we do with these guys? The matchup's fine.
It's not like they're that cheap. Like you can take a decent matchup with 3 guys in a timeshare, or you can take Singletary, or you can take Mixon or Kerryon Johnson, getting the entirety of the workload almost. So I just don't see any real reason to use any of them.
It's just annoying. Yeah, like the price isn't down enough and the volume isn't really guaranteed. And you know, Coleman probably gets like 15 touches or so. Like Breida maybe get 15 touches, I guess. But I don't know if they're cheap enough to take the shot there. Of course, they can both get there. You know, one breakout play and you're good to go. All right, let's jump to receivers, boys. By the way, this is a good time to talk about it. Grant, you know, you got little tweets or consequences. Somebody's off the schneid. You know, not only did I win $100 American last week in BF, that's even better. I was not the loser on the podcast. Grant
yeah, well, I wouldn't have been the loser if it wasn't for you.
Yeah, I would have lost, but somebody has still only lost once, and he lost because of crappy defenses. So we are still looking good, baby. I'm excited.
No, you all didn't lose this time because Dean I said we're going straight up, and Dean's like, no, I want to do it. I want to do it legit because Dean's
I didn't want any pity, man. You were showing me pity because I lost like
It
twice in a
wasn't
row.
pity.
Like,
It was a play on my side trying to get the better value, which was the right play. And I had it, and then you fudged me real bad.
Yeah,
and
but
Mangone busted out his calculator like 0.0002% he beat you by as far as fantasy points or something like that.
now listen, if we're counting at home, it sounds like Travis is a better salesman than Grant. That's basically what I'm saying.
Well, you are a former
no,
salesman, correct, Travis?
Yes,
I
used
had
to
it
sell.
sold. Dean's just a dummy.
Well, I'm stubborn. I just said, you know what? I'm not taking your pity because I thought you were giving me pity, and I didn't want pity.
You didn't sell to your customer right, Grant. That's on you, man. Like,
Know your audience, man. It's very important.
you should have jumped right in and say, no, man, we have an advantage here. Keep the advantage. Dean loves a good discount. Dean would have taken. If you would have sold that, I would have lost. You had to come back in and sell, and you didn't. You let me say the final word.
Grant, how about this? Build better lineups. That's on you, my friend. Don't blame me.
I mean, says the guy that lost 3 weeks in a row.
Hey, you're only as good as your last week, right? You're only as good as your last at bat, and my last at bat was better than yours.
I'm fairly certain in DFS we're only good as our bankroll. And if you have a few bad weeks, that definitely goes.
Heads up for rolls, Grant? You want to do it?
No,
probably not.
Not really.
I'm not. Yeah, it's terrible.
I don't want to steal my friend's money.
That was a really nice thing and a really mean thing all in one sentence. Grant, open up receivers.
Receivers up at the top, like Thomas isn't in a good matchup. Hopkins isn't in a good matchup. Adams probably won't play, might not play. Like Julio Jones against the Rams, I think is the top overall raw points option, but he's 8K. I don't know if I want to go there. Cooper Kupp's an interesting one. Just did absolutely terrible last weekend, but he's going up against Atlanta this week. He's 7-4. That's a little tough price tag to swallow, but he is still leading the league in targets so far with 69. He's getting double-digit every single week outside of last week, which that was just the ugliest game I've ever seen the Rams play and probably ever will see the Rams play.
Yeah.
So Kupp's probably in for a large volume game here. Outside of that at the top, I really don't want too much. The rest of the guys are cheaper. I mean, Larry going up against the Giants, I really like him. McLaurin as a tournament play going up against San Francisco. San Francisco has been fantastic for the past, but McLaurin is clearly an all-star here. And if Case Keenum is in the lineup, that definitely gives a big bump to McLaurin there. DJ Chark going up against Cincinnati. Hilton going up against Houston. Woods, if Hilton plays. Woods going up against Atlanta. Like, this 5.9 to 6K range is just absolutely stacked. And I think that's going. It's looks like a more of a mid-tier build so far this week.
Yeah, Mango, and I feel the same way because last week we had the funds. Things were opening up. We can spend up on big receivers. It worked out to some degree, and not so much to other degrees, depending on who you're rostered. I think this is where we're saving money, right? As far as the mid-tier, we'll talk about in a second, and then maybe you'll find a cheapie or two that kind of makes sense as well. But I know you mentioned Hilton pre-show at 5.9K and DK specifically you thought was too cheap. Who else is jumping out for you?
Yeah, I mean, at the top, like Julio, Hopkins, Kupp, they strike me as like my 3 favorite plays above 7K if you're forced to pick. Think those guys are fine, but they're not priority spends this week by any means. Detroit doesn't have that great of a secondary there. Like Adam Thielen at 6'9" is still certainly in play. Tyler Lockett could easily eat here against Baltimore again with that high total. So like Lockett, a mid-tier receiver that I definitely like a little bit here. I agree with you. I'm definitely on the T.Y. Hilton train. That's the guy I'm definitely really excited about. I don't have the splits right now, but I know that like exists somewhere. Maybe I can do a quick Twitter search and find it. No, not the home road. It's like the Texans splits. Like he absolutely just murders them every single time. I know how to find them, so I'll do that when I throw it over to someone else. Or maybe while we're at tight end and someone's talking, I'll find it. But it's really interesting how much he's absolutely dominated against the Texans. Definitely think that going against Cincinnati, DJ Chark is certainly in play here.
Now, do you like DJ Chark, or do you just want to
I hate you so much.
You just want to hit the drop, or do you actually like him?
I just wanted to listen. I kind of wanted to just hit the drop, but Chark has upside, right? It's the Bengals, so it's certainly fine. You can certainly do that, but yeah, I mainly did it for the drop. I will admit.
He's also been like playing above his head. You can say that. Like he's some negative regressions coming his way. As far as the touchdowns, 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, what's his name again, Dean?
Don't
baby
you dare do it, Mangone.
Wait, his nickname is a sound effect? I understand you're playing the role of a DJ. I get what you're doing, but like that's not his nickname. It's just a sound effect, right?
I'm just enjoying myself, man.
How would I call him? Like, how would I announce that?
Well, it's like DJ Chark, and then you're
That's not a nickname. That's just like a backtrack or a drop. Oh, all right. Well, whatever. And Boyd is 5.6K, which is really interesting too. I know he wasn't great last week, but everything else he's been solid. Keep an eye on, see what's going down as far as AJ Green if he comes back this week. I know there's some speculation he may play at some point. Grant, your boy John Brown is 5.5 versus the Dolphins. Like, you're talking about getting loose in the secondary. He hasn't exactly done it since week 1, more or less, but there's certainly some upside. I like that for tournaments. Metcalf is a little bit too cheap in that game against Baltimore with the shootout. Probably not a cash game reliable guy per se, at least not from a safety perspective, but definitely plenty of upside. We're working our way down here, Grant. What's jumping out for you?
Yeah, you mentioned John Brown, how he hasn't done since week 1. He's still averaging 12 points a game since week 1. He just hasn't gotten that touchdown.
Yeah.
He hasn't had that big bomb. Like, he hasn't had a 40-yard reception for a touchdown. That happens. Like, he's giving you a 12-point floor or close to double-digit floor right now. And he still has massive upside if he just breaks off one long bomb, which, I mean, I mentioned it all last week. Miami is so much worse than every other team in the league versus the pass. It's ridiculous. So, yeah, I really like John Brown there. Golden Tate going up against Arizona, especially if Shepard's out. He's going to get the lion's share of the workload in the receiving game there. Really like him. Boyd, you mentioned, good. Kirk, if he plays, going up against the Giants is good. DK Metcalf going up against Baltimore in that massive total there. Only 4,800 price tag seems too low. Darius Slayton, 4,100 going up against Arizona if Shepard is out. Got 8 targets last week. One guy I'm really looking at here that just seems like he's too priced down considering his upside is Mike Williams. Keenan Allen hasn't been getting a ton of targets, and Mike Williams has been stepping up the last 2 weeks. He hasn't put out great fantasy outputs, but he almost had a beautiful catch in the end zone last week. He's going up against a Tennessee team that's really not easy matchup, but he's 4,600 with 10 and 13 targets the last 2 weeks, and he's a huge red zone threat. So he's a guy that I really, really like at 4,600. And then every single week I have to mention Preston Williams just because that's what I do now.
How much does Hunter Henry muck up the Williams? I understand you put last night, Williams. So how many targets did Williams have last night, you said?
10.
Mike Williams? Yeah. And like Keenan Allen has been really taking a hit of late for what it's worth, and that he was a stud, obviously, the first, 4 weeks of the season. He's certainly fallen back as far as the Chargers. Mangone, do you have any did you find the road splits, the home road splits there as far, not the home road, the Houston splits for TY?
Yeah, so this is courtesy of Ian Harditz. He always posts some really good stuff, and I retweeted it too, so there you go.
Look at that. You're actually giving credit instead of just stealing the stats upright, which is what you normally do, but fair enough. Go ahead.
Dean, that's not true. I gave him all the credit. And I love Ian. Ian Harditz is actually a great follow, one of my favorite NFL follows. So, here are the numbers for him. 4 for 115, then here's a dud, 3 for 14, but 5 for 175 and then 2 touchdowns, 9 for 115 and a touchdown, 3 for 49, 3 for 29, then 5 for 88, 4 for 50, 9 for 223 and 1 touchdown, 8 for 78, 7 for 121 and 3 touchdowns, 4 for 111 and a touchdown, and 3 for 78 and a touchdown.
You just sound like
how far back did you go? Like
you're reading T.Y. Hilton's dome stats.
And how does that even matter?
Like
7 years ago.
They're against the Texans, and hey, guess what? When you play the Texans and when you play the Colts, you're in a dome no matter what.
I know. That's what I'm saying. You're reading the dome stats. Like it
I'm not reading the dome stats. I'm reading the tweet says T.Y. Hilton career versus Texans.
I'm saying that's literally pretty much his numbers in a dome. What you're reading is his drastic splits and his big numbers in domes. There's not a drastic difference between playing Houston or playing any other team in a dome. Those are literally just dome splits.
And it's also a game from 7 years ago. Like, how many of those guys are still playing for Houston?
Okay, but more of the recent ones. The later ones. The recent ones, like.
All right.
Again, it doesn't matter if T.Y. Hilton's in a dome or if it's not. He plays the Texans every time in a dome. It's not like the only time he's in a dome is against the Texans.
I know. I'm saying the Texans don't matter. The dome is the important.
No, the Texans matter too. You're telling me the defense on the field doesn't matter just in a dome. So you're telling me, Grant, if we put T.Y. Hilton in a dome against the Bears defense,
I'm not saying. I'm saying those stats are only applicable because he's in a dome. The defense isn't the relevant part there. It's not correlate. It's not causation. It's correlation.
I think
it just happens.
I think they both come in play.
He literally averages 100 yards and 0.8 touchdowns in a dome. The stats you read are about 100 yards a game and 0.8 touchdowns. So he has the exact same numbers in a dome versus the Texans as is in a dome somewhere else.
Okay.
I think Grant wins because he said correlation, causation, and applicable. And that Mangone used nothing that smart. None of your words were that intelligent.
Listen, that's fine. Listen, all I know is if we get to the game and we are picking in this range, I'm taking T.Y. Hilton.
That's fine. It's because he's in the dome.
That's fine.
I like Hilton too, but not necessarily because he's playing against Houston and he was good against them 7 years ago.
See, the thing that's great about this too is Grant has me cornered where I can't win because the Texans and Colts will never not play in a dome. There's no way.
They might play in London in a dome.
There we go. Well, I don't even know. Is that London game in a dome?
I think some of them have been and some of them haven't been.
Oh, yeah.
Wembley Stadium, I believe. Actually, I've been in Wembley Stadium. Should know this. Whatever. I forget.
A nice humble brag there.
Yeah. I was there for a Champions League. No, it was a cup final. All right, let's move on. Tight ends. Hey, Grant, let me ask you this. Tight ends. We talk about the old flow chart all the time, obviously, as far as tight ends against Arizona. How much does Patrick Peterson coming back from a suspension? How much does that factor in, if at all?
I mean, it's going to factor in a little bit. I'm not actually sure if it's going to be more or less advantageous. I mean, Peterson being in there, probably shutting down Golden Tate here, could potentially focus more volume over to Ingram. Peterson being back, it'll have an effect, whether it's on tight ends, positive or negative. I guess more that's going to be positive. If it's neutral, even though, but if it's neutral, Ingram's still the top play on the board probably this weekend. I mean, we don't have a whole lot of options up there at the top. Kelsey's not on the slate, so we can't just lose money again like we do every week with him.
He's killing me, man.
Oh, he's destroying my soul.
And that Kittle news, so tilted as far as the Kittle news. Oh yeah. This guy can't play.
The Kittle and Gurley news, my lineups were set, and they were fantastic. And then the Kittle and Gurley news, I swapped up to Ertz instead of Kittle, and I swapped down to Malcolm Brown, and that made me get rid of Devonta Freeman on my lineups. Yeah, it just crushed my soul. But in any case, up at the top, Kittle and Ingram are two fantastic plays, with Ingram being the clear chalk option and still not a guy I'm going to fade. Arizona's been crushed every single week versus the tight end. And with Peterson coming back, maybe you can make the argument that, now's the week to fade the chalk Arizona tight end. But this is a guy that's getting volume every single week, so long as he's healthy. The volume is absolutely going to be there, especially with Shepard likely missing, Tate likely being shut down a little bit by Peterson. Ingram's the top guy. Outside of him, Andrews, Hooper are both fine. Waller's a good play. But Henry going up against Tennessee, that's given up a large volume of targets to opposing tight ends, and Henry only being 4K, might be chalk. If he is, then it's a decent fade. But as of right now, I really like Hunter Henry. Hawkinson, Minnesota hasn't been great to opposing tight ends. Hawkinson, I know that he hasn't done a whole lot. Maybe we'll see what he does tonight and how he looks tonight, and maybe we'll see if it was just an outlier game going up against Arizona. But the guy seems talented. We only have a 4-game sample size. 2 of them, he's gotten over 10 points, and he's only 3,600, which is way too cheap. And a guy I was on last week that I should have taken our bet with, Darren Fells, going up against Indy. The dude almost had 2 touchdowns. I think he got stopped on the 1-yard line, and he got stopped short or dropped a touchdown pass. But he had 7 targets, 6 receptions, going up against a team that funnels targets to tight end. And Indy is just as bad at funneling targets to the tight end. We're going to see a lot of 2 tight end sets. We're going to see a lot of work with Darren Fells here. Darren Fells is 3,100, going to get no ownership. I absolutely love him this week.
You say Fells almost had 2 touchdowns. How many almost touchdowns did Will Fuller have? his teammate.
I don't know, but Fells also has 3 touchdowns in the last 4 games.
By the way, Mangone, are we certain? Like, again, this is stuff that might come out later on in the week, and it's just sort of speculation. Is it possible they throw Peterson on Ingram? Is that something they would consider doing there in Arizona?
I remember Peterson rarely got into the slot, and I don't think he ever went on tight ends. I think one of the games where they ended up playing Gronk, I think the Patriots were thin at wide receiver. They didn't throw Peterson on. So from my memory of Patrick Peterson, he's not a guy that likes to go. He likes to stay on the outside more, if I remember correctly. It's been a while, so.
I feel like he's covered tight ends before, but is Ingram even a traditional tight end? Another conversation too, obviously, but who knows? Stay tuned on that one, man. Do you have a thought on that as far as Ingram right now?
Yeah, I'm not that worried about it. I just don't think the price is right for me on him. I get it in tournaments, but I don't know. I think I'm just playing Hunter Henry, and you know me, I'm more of a cash one lineup guy. Tournaments, I get it. If you have the money to spend on like the guys like Kittle and Ingram, sure, like they're going to be phenomenal plays. But I really, really like Hunter Henry here. I think at 4K, I just think the price is too nice here in this spot, and I'm expecting a pretty good bounce back spot for the Chargers here. I don't know. Is this that 1 o'clock? I guess it's not.
It's a 4 o'clock game.
Oh, it's a 4 o'clock game. Even better then. That's good for the Chargers over there in Tennessee. So, Hunter Henry, I think he's just going to be the guy I gravitate towards. Waller's kind of interesting. I don't know. I think you'd expect Jair Alexander, who's been a really good corner this year, you'd expect him to be on Tyrell Williams, so maybe some things can funnel to him at 4.7K. He could be intriguing. Mark Andrews, he's a guy that's been in the slot a ton, and we know Seattle gets killed against the slot. So at 4.9K, I kind of like him. So I don't know. This might not be a week that I spend up at tight end. Might be more of a spend down at tight end week. And listen, after spending for Travis Kelce every single week, it's been not every week, but it's been brutal a lot of the weeks. I just want to mention this since we're on the tight end spot. Like, if you're playing Showdown slate, this is the week Travis Kelce goes off, right? He trolls us all. He gets 2 to 3 touchdowns when he's not on the main slate. Play him as your captain in Showdown.
Yeah, Andrews keeps doing it with limited snaps as well, too. Obviously, not all snaps are created equal. His snaps are created positively, and, especially if he's running routes there. I think he less than 50% snaps last week once again, but he still kind of got there. Obviously, stay tuned as far as the Ingram news. And, we don't know if Ingram's playing as of Monday night. Just we're assuming he's playing, obviously, for this conversation. Henry smashed in his first game back. He played 2/3 of the snaps. It was pretty awesome that game. And it feels like that DK price was not really factored in at 4K. On Yahoo, he's $21, which seems less appealing to me. Just kind of taking a peek. 27 for Ingram. If you want to kind of gauge what else is out there, Andrews is $22 as well. Is there anything else here as far as tight ends, Grant? It seems pretty thin. Waller, just in theory, they're going to be behind. Get some volume against Green Bay would kind of make some sense. But as of right now, nothing really looks too sexy for me.
I mean, if you really want to pay down and you feel like paying a Miami tight end, which
oh no,
Gesicki got 7 targets last week. Buffalo has been fantastic for tight end, but $26, or $2,600, not the worst in the world. But yeah, realistically, I'm not paying below 3K for a guy.
Yeah, does that mean you got what's his name? Luke Wilson's 3K. Is he in the conversation for you? Is he playable or no?
Yeah, he's had a connection with Russell Wilson in the past, and they obviously got rid of Vanette because of Will Dissly. So, it's not the worst idea in the world, especially considering his price tag. Going up against Baltimore, they've actually been decent versus the tight end. It's not the terrible idea. I just drastically prefer Fells to him, and I just don't see a huge amount of upside with Luke Wilson, but that could change throughout the week.
Is Mike Gesicki the most interesting tight end on the slate?
No.
I don't play Mike Gesicki often, but what I do. That was well played there. I picked up on it. I don't think I'm ever going to play Mike Gesicki. So
I'm not playing Mike Gesicki this week. Just want to clarify that. I'll pass
the joke in.
Yeah, just as there for the joke. What's
his nickname? Does he have an air horn or something to accompany when you say Mike Gesicki? Or
no, I don't have a drop of the Dos Equis guys.
It's like the Gong Show sound effect when things are go terribly wrong or something like that. I think that's anything Dolphins related that would kind of work, I suppose. But
yeah, no, I'm pretty big. Like I said, on Hunter Henry's kind of the guy. I don't mind Waller. I think he's perfectly fine. And I guess some of these spend ups, like Andrews is there. It just, I don't know. It's a gross week at tight end. And I think Hunter Henry's going to be I think he's going to be 60 to 80% owned in cash games.
Well, it depends with Ingram. It depends if you have money. It depends if salary opens up. There's a lot of other factors, obviously. Like, ideally, you probably want Ingram if he's healthy and you have the salary to do it. It's not hurting the rest of your lineup. But if you're pushed for funds, for sure, Henry makes a ton of sense. Kittle, of course, you can spend up on again against Washington. Perfectly fine play. Anderson, that shootout for Seattle. I'm good with that, too. Game stacks? Any game stacks for you, Grant, that's kind of sort of jumping out at this point? I mean, it seems pretty straightforward, but, of course, maybe be a little bit goofy because ownership matters sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, outside the obvious ones, which are Arizona, Houston, like, we didn't talk about Oakland, did we? Like,
in passing, we mentioned Waller.
Yeah, I mean, you can go, stack up Green Bay going up against Oakland and bring it back with Waller, or even Jacobs, we didn't really mention.
He's cheap, Jacobs. Like, if that game stays close, he might get 25 touches.
Yeah, after everyone was anointing him week 1 as the greatest running back in the league, or the greatest running back play in the league. I guess, an interesting one is Jacksonville. I already mentioned Minshew. I mentioned Chark. D.D. Westbrook's there. You can bring it back with Mixon. Fournette, even the running back stack there is not the worst idea in the world. Chargers, Tennessee. Chargers have to turn around eventually. Their defense isn't very good. You can play Henry and then Rivers and go with Mike Williams and Hunter Henry for a very, very small amount of money. You're not hoping for 400 yards passing from Rivers and 5 touchdowns. You're hoping for 3 touchdowns, 300 yards passing, and hoping that the touchdowns go to Henry and to Mike Williams, which they very easily can. They're 2 great red zone targets. If you want an off-board stack, that's kind of the one I'm looking at.
Yeah, my problem with the Chargers is that, the pie is being divvied up more these days. The total is basically one of the lowest totals on the board, but, Eckler and Gordon, which one is going to be? I don't know. Is Allen going to bounce back? I don't know. Williams, sure. And then Henry kind of mucks things up. It's just hard to predict.
Well, if you're saying to the pie, a much smaller share is going to continue going to Keenan Allen, and that leaves a ton of targets to both Mike Williams and to Hunter Henry. They have 3 targets aside from a running back in that offense. And if Keenan Allen's going to continue to get the low volume that he has been, that could, or if opposing teams are going to try and shut him down, that opens up a huge piece of the pie for both Hunter Henry and Mike Williams. And compared to their price tag, you don't need a high total when you're using a guy that's 4,600 and you're using a guy that's 4K as your 2 options there. You're getting 2 guys that are less than Saquon Barkley when you combine them.
It is kind of a big presumption that Keenan Allen's going to continue to stink. But the targets haven't been there, obviously, the last 3 weeks, 6, 6, and 5 for various reasons. The Miami game, that was they just blew him out. They didn't necessarily need him. And, of course, he had that 69-yard touchdown that was taken back. Not nice if you rostered him, obviously. Mangone, jump in here as far as some favorite stacks or if you have thoughts in this conversation.
Yeah, one thing I did want to mention that I heard Grant say earlier, I think the Mike Williams call is a good one. He was in the buy low air yards model, right? And he's a guy that I think could pop off at that price. That price is just way too cheap on Mike Williams. So, I think that was a good call that I heard before that Grant kind of brought up that I wanted to say again. Stacks, obviously, everyone's going to like that Giants game, Giants-Cardinals, load up on that. It's got the high total. Houston, Indy, I don't mind, but it's not my favorite on the board. I noticed it started going down already, the under, which I thought was interesting. So, I don't know. I'm curious how that total moves throughout the week. That's definitely what I'm going to be monitoring a ton and just see kind of how it shakes up. Rams, Falcons, of course, that's definitely going to be an interesting game, right? No one's going to want to go to Jared Goff after what he did, but it's got a 53.5 total, right? Goff's got to be better here in this spot, you would assume. I'm actually looking at totals right now, man. Chargers Titans 38 total. That's actually disgusting.
That's gross.
Yeah, I was thinking about Rivers. So the price isn't bad and the Titans stink, but man, 38 total. That is so bad. I didn't realize that when I kind of went through and was looking at totals earlier. Like I said, Baltimore and Seattle. That's a game that I think is going to be absolutely awesome. I think there's going to be a ton of action going on, tons of scoring. Definitely going to want to be all over that. So the 2 games that I think a lot of people are going to gravitate towards, or the 3 I should say, are going to be Giants-Cardinals. I think that one's going to get a ton of talk this week. Rams-Falcons will get talk, obviously, for good reason, and Seattle-Baltimore. Those are the 3 that I think everyone's going to key on. And again, it's because everyone just looks at totals, and that's kind of what they do.
So I just pulled up week 6 as far as the air yards out there. Stephon Diggs, 250 air yards last week. And, of course, 167 receiving yards in total as well. Mike Evans, 226, not in the slate, who cares. But Grant, your boy, Mike Williams, 192 air yards last week. And and 10 targets. That's a lot. That's a nice $8 as well. Will Fuller at 158. Darius Slayton, by the way, 156. That's interesting. just got to keep up. He only had 32 receiving yards, and obviously he needs some injuries to open up. I suppose if Shepard doesn't play, maybe Slayton could be interesting as well. Do we have to play? We got to pick our guys, don't we? We got to kind of lock in and say, what's the argument? Who wants to take a stand? Grant, the big loser, will give him his punishment in a second, obviously. But,
I mean, do you want to go like wide receivers?
Well, me and Mangone are both going to fight over T.Y. Hilton. We both like T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah, what is Hilton's price?
5'9".
5'9".
5'9". Yeah, I mean,
do you have a pivot in there, Mangone?
No, I want Hilton, man. I'm the one who's been fighting for him on podcasts. I'm literally fighting someone on Twitter about it because he told me, he had Jacoby, there was an argument about it. I pulled it up. It was so tilting. Like, the guy's out here making fun and saying, there's no Andrew Luck. All those games were with Andrew Luck. And I pulled up the 2017 ones with Jacoby, who had a worse offensive line in those games, had a worse head coach, and in two of the games, one of them he was 3 for 14. The other he had 5 for 175 and 2. The 3 for 14 game, it was week 17 and both teams were 4-12. And it was clear.
It's great to see you're paying attention to the podcast as you're doing the pod. This is what you've been doing the whole time.
I will admit, during that last tight end segment was just tilting this guy. Like,
you're arguing with somebody on Twitter.
Yeah, because it's someone just, again, I don't know why I'm thinking someone on Twitter is being rational, but just coming in there like guns a-blazing with no information, doing no research at all. So,
Mangone, have you not figured out that people on Twitter are trying to make you angry?
Yeah, I realize that. Jay Knuckles with a Z, of course. This is the guy out here.
Yeah, anytime there's a Z at the end, he's probably a troll.
Yeah. I always look at their last 10 tweets, and I'm like, is it me or is it them? And almost always it's them. It's like, what were their last 10 tweets? Okay, yeah, this all checks out. This perfectly makes sense.
We can go 6K and under running backs. I'll take Mixon. Mango can have carry on.
You said under what price tag?
Under 6K running backs.
I mean 6K. I don't know if I want Johnson. Then I might want someone else. You're giving me some more.
No, fine. Dean can have Johnson. I'm taking Mixon.
Can we hold on a second? There's nothing I really love here. This is a.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean,
yeah, this is.
How about quarterbacks? Anybody have any hot takes as far as quarterbacks? I want Russell.
Yeah, I guess we could. F it. I'll take Josh Allen. I don't care.
Oh, okay.
I'll die on the Josh Allen bridge.
Okay, Grant's gonna lose 2 weeks in a row. Mangone, don't blow us on Mangone.
I know, but so there's a lot of options here. I mean,
no, yeah, but they're all better than Josh Allen.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm in on this. I'm in. I just want to make sure. I want to make sure I make the right choice, right? Like, is it Kyler Murray? Is it Lamar Jackson? I mean, they're all phenomenal options here. I think
it's L-Jax personally, but maybe I'm just trying to swerve you. I don't know.
Oh man, you got me tilted right now because part of me feels like it could be Kyler.
Could be.
It's L-Jax or Kyler for sure. It's one of the two. Which one do I want to? I mean, L-Jax has been so.
I know who you're taking. Come on, just stop with you know who you're taking and lock it in.
I mean, but the Giants secondary has been so bad. But we'll take the safety in Lamar Jackson. That's
dollar for dollar, just so you know.
See now, dollar for dollar, we got to think about it, right? Like it's a 300.
You want the top guy and dollar for dollar not to matter? And no wonder why you only lost one so far. You're winning the game at all times. You're the salesman.
Well, I thought Kyler Murray was 6,500, but he's 6,700, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, we'll go with Lamar. Let's just keep it easy.
There you go. Grant, we have a question for the people in chat. What's the question this week?
Worst hotel stories, which prior to the podcast, I guess we were talking about all mine and how I've been walked in on without noticing, using the lawnmower 2.0, and then walking out of the hotel room or walking out of the shower and just standing there, nuded up right in front of housekeeping, not knowing what to do. How I've been walked in naked many times. How I've shared a bed in a hotel room with like 6 people. Some of the time which I've had 10 people in a room. People are just banging it out in the room while they think we're asleep. Guys, if you're in a room with 10 other people, you start going at no one's asleep. Trust me. You don't sleep through those sounds. And then my favorite.
You got to be classy about it, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, or just acknowledge it in the morning. Like, hey, sorry guys. And then My buddy slept on top of an entertainment center because we had so many people in the room. Dude was like 5'5", $130. It just made me chuckle thinking about it.
But you were saying, so you're just always just sit around your hotel room naked? Like that's standard, Grant? Like you're not wearing, you're in a hotel room right now. Does that mean you're not wearing pants or shorts or boxers or anything of that sort?
I'm wearing socks.
One sock or two socks?
I'm wearing 2 socks.
Well, and why do you not wear clothes at all when you're in a hotel room?
Why would I wear clothes?
Okay, when you're at home, do you wear? Is this the same thing, or just when you're in a hotel?
I live with other people. I've always lived with other people, so yes, I wear clothes. I'm not an animal, Dean.
But well, I don't understand. Is it that restricting to wear like a pair of shorts? Just a pair of shorts?
I mean, no, it's not. But do I need to? Like, I take a lot of bubble baths in hotels. Do I want to take the time to put on clothes when I don't need to?
Do you have your own like travel size bubble bath?
No, I just steal a whole bunch of shampoo from the cart.
That's what you can do, by the way, when the maid busts you, like with your Manscaped or whatever, your lawnmower 2.0. You can ask her. That'd be the perfect time to ask for some more bubble bath material. Because
yes, could I get some more shampoo? Sir, you seem to be clean shaven. Oh, not for there.
Mangone, when you go to a hotel, are you automatically naked at all times?
I don't know. I don't have a good hotel story for you guys, so Grant can just soak them all up for you. But I loved how he's talking about the lawnmower 2.0 because it segues into something else we got to talk about here.
It just happened to work out that way. Grant, did you see our winner from last week? Did you happen to pull that up?
I can now, if you like. I think it was Miller, D. Miller.
Yeah. So we're well. Go ahead. What was the question? Do you recall, Grant?
The question was worst or best celebrity sighting. I guess that wasn't a great question or very advantageous one for getting comments because we only had one. But essentially, she ran into, who was it?
Steven Tyler, lead singer of Aerosmith.
Steven Tyler. And she asked, like, oh, is this your daughter? In which case he just proceeds to stick his tongue down her throat as proof. A simple yes or no may have sufficed, but...
Yeah, and of course, Liv Tyler is maybe he has more than one daughter. I don't really know. It's certainly possible as well. But I guess I wouldn't think he would shove his tongue down the throat of Liv Tyler either. What is the question this week? We're trying to elicit more than one response.
Weird hotel stories.
Oh yeah, well, I just totally.
Like it doesn't have to be. Maybe you trashed the hotel room. Maybe you slept 18 people in the hotel room. Maybe someone pooped themselves in the hotel room.
You can make up the story. You can make up the story and just win a T-shirt because there was only one person last week. So like,
so easy.
If you want a T-shirt,
you could
do it.
Yeah. And the shirts are like legit comfortable. Like they're comfortable shirts. I don't know if you guys rock them at all, but the RG shirts are.
If I were wearing clothes right now, I'd probably wear it.
Well, yeah, there you go. But of course, you're not wearing any clothes. Before we step aside and get out of here, we do have to do a tweets or conflict like this. Grant, unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of time to prep this, so like it's not fully thought out just yet. But this is basically where I'm at. This is what we're gonna have you to some extent, more or less. We'll give you a finalized tweet later on. But obviously, tweets are consequences. If you lose the game, the loser has to go ahead and tweet someone out on Tuesday, the next day, the following day, and essentially you're not allowed to respond. This one you might have to respond to, by the way, which is kind of tricky, right, Mangone? Like, you might get a response.
Yeah.
Maybe slide in the DMs.
Yeah, there's a chance you get a response, so you better be ready, and you might only have like 20 minutes to respond.
So here we go, Grant. You're ready for this is what we have as your tweet.
Oh, gosh, I guess.
Hey, Manscaped. Much like Weekend at Bernie's 2, your sequel also failed to live up to the original as the Lawnmower 2.0 has failed me. It's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre down there. Assuming I'm not getting catfished again, I'm meeting my internet girlfriend for the first time in 20 minutes. So please advise ASAP.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm good with that. I have no problem with that.
They're going to respond, right?
Yeah. Am I allowed to respond to Manscaped and only Manscaped?
I feel like you got to present us with what they say.
I mean, they're going to say, like, sorry, we'd like to hear that. Should I respond with something like, oh, sorry, didn't realize it was supposed to go in, wasn't supposed to go inside of me.
My family jewels had been heisted. Yeah, I don't know. Again, I threw this together before the show, and I didn't really have any time to construct it properly, but more or less, that's what it is. And
I mean, the main thing is I feel bad about giving bad publicity. Manscaped.
Yeah.
Did I throw a picture of a strawberry underneath it?
But that's where we're at right now. I don't know. We may modify that a little bit. Maybe we'll get told a different curveball. Who really knows? But more or less, that's where it's at. And there you go. Well, that's not too bad, right, Grant? Because it's hard to like, I don't know, shame you or embarrass you, or I mean, you're a man that's walking around hotel rooms without any pants and talking to.
And apparently, looks like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre down there.
That was Mangone added that thought, so there you go. I don't know if that's too wordy as far as the character limit, because we'll kind of break that down.
I'm
in a
just
second.
excited to meet this internet girlfriend I'm going to meet for the first.
It said you might get catfished again, implying, of course, you've been previously catfished at least once.
I mean, I get like 40 messages a week between Instagram and Twitter about women who are, I'm 30, I never married, I have no kids, is the general response I get. I don't know why.
Where do you get these messages from? Where should I be signed up for this? Who's sliding the DMs over there?
I mean, you just got to reply to all Pornhub's posts.
Oh.
That's how they get you. That's how they find you.
I'm not on that, unfortunately. We'll have to talk off air, I suppose. Final thoughts as far as the slate, Grant?
There's no cut and dry answers to this slate. And there's no full-on shock. So play your plays, play your best plays, and I wouldn't worry about ownership too much this week.
Mangone?
I'm just so confused. As a subscriber for premium to the Hub, Dean, like, how do you not know how to do this? Like, just so confused.
I'm pretty sure
I was playing coy.
He sold off his Pornhub premium for Snickleders.
Did you guys happen to see the Dolphins had one of the porn sites? You probably saw this, Grant. Maybe not Mangone.
I did see this.
Yes, it was tailgating this weekend, and there was at least someone had a good time, I suppose. The Buffalo Dolphin game, because not Buffalo. Why would I besmirch Buffalo at the Washington Miami Dolphins game? Yeah, what was what site it was? We should give him credit. We should give him a proper shout out in the podcast. I don't recall who it was, but
I think it was posted on Pornhub, which is why that was in my mind.
Well, there you go. On that note, stay tuned for news. Obviously, again, this is the first podcast you should listen to for DFS, not the last podcast you should listen to for DFS, because news changes, and we're doing this on Monday night, so we don't really know a lot. This is a first look pod. He's Mangone. He's Grant. I'm Dean. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your football. We're out of here.
Hey, kids.